Good evening, Franz. It's me, Jackey. Today, I want to talk about a subject that has been very misunderstood, and I feel like, for the most part, it's been confused for something else. And that I want to talk about is about socialism. What is socialism? Well, let's get that cleared off first. So, first, socialism is simply a social involvement in the economy that could be like the state government, running like programs that in the city. That could be like, example, public school, free public schools. That's elementary school, high school, middle school, preschool. And then with going into within that, you got free public lunches, and that can even expand during the weekday, the weekend, my bad, the weekend, where they still give out free lunch for people, and the family that can't really, a little financial problems. Let's talk about that. Help make their life a little easier. And that, my friend, is a form aspect of socialism where a government, let's just say it's the state government in this case, runs a program, whether that like free school and free lunches, which is funded by our city's tax-paying dollars. And so with these tax it goes to these government-ran programs like the state to fund these. And I just find it really painful to see a lot of comments, and in real life, to people I talk to, they always say something like, we don't need socialism, socialism won't work, socialism is bad. But the thing is, socialism is already a part of the world, even here in the United States. Example, like I provided, public schools and the lunches. That is just a form of socialism. It's an aspect. Another form, I hear there's a lot of talks about universal health care. That, my friend, is also a form, an aspect of socialism. It's a universal health care that is could be ran by the government, funded by tax-paying dollars, there to help, people who can't afford health insurance, but they can still get the care and the medical help they need, regardless their status and wherever they came from. And that is a form of socialism right there. And I just can't understand the harsh criticism. It's not that complicated. And universal healthcare, that is in a lot of countries already. It's not exactly here in the United States yet, but that's in other countries like Germany. And is universal healthcare a bad thing? No, it's a good thing. Public schools funded for, a lot of children go into there. I went to public school, elementary school, middle school, high school, free. And the free lunches. Now, were the lunches greatest? No, not really. But, it's there for people who can't, for families just trying to get by. And in these schools does help carve out the future, and they're run by the government, the city government. And also, earlier I mentioned that people get confused socialism over communism. Yes, people do get socialism confused with communism. And yeah, it just happens a lot. So like when people see the idea of socialism, they just quickly point out something like, oh, that's a communist idea, or this isn't gonna work. But simply, you need to understand, what is communism? Well, communism is differs a bit from socialism. Yes, socialism do have little hints coming from the ideas, a little similarity, but here's where it differs. So yes, the government does basically run the economy. There's like almost no privatization, almost every industry, and the economy is literally ran by the government. And there's no classification of wealth. There's like, how there's the first class, second class, the third class, the working. I think the third class is the working class, or people call it the middle class. And then you got people lower below that. And the idea of communism is simply redistributing that wealth, which sounds kind of good on paper, but then in reality, if you're redistributing all that to the point where everyone is just under financially, that redistribution doesn't really work, and everything is owned by the government. That's kind of like the gist of what communism is. And socialism is not really the idea of redistributing wealth. In my opinion, I see it that it can really indirectly connect to modern day capitalism, because socialism is there kind of like a government, like a state city ran government running a program to help the life of their citizens, the middle class, the working class, and simply help them get there easier, help get their life a little more simple. And the idea, that's where it differs, and that's why I don't really like when it's really misunderstood, because yes, there's similarities, but they're not exactly the same thing. So when people see the mayoral candidate for New York City, the Democratic mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani, there are some people quickly assuming that he's a communist because he has socialistic idea. People say that socialism is somehow connected to communism. Not exactly. It's not that simple. And the idea, let's take a look at what some of the things Mamdani is advocating. A city-ran grocery store to help, cut down the costs of daily grocery, trying to make it more affordable. And that is, yes, indeed, a form of socialism, similar to a public city-ran school. It's ran by the government, the city governments, the city-state government, funded by the tax-paying dollars of the city, and also other plans, things like that, associated similar, where if you get the pattern where a city government runs a program to help out the everyday citizens within that city. That's kind of like, I like to think of it, it's kind of like the gist of what modern day socialism is when it's molding within the modern day capitalism. And that's what I want to clear out. First of all, socialism is not as bad people make it out as, and it's not exact. It does work. Universal healthcare in many countries, it does work. Public schools. Now, there's a lot of flaws coming within it, and yeah, I get it. It's not perfect, but it had work, and many people's future were built off of it. And things like that. These little things that really ran by the city that just became very unappreciated, really helping people just a little bit, just help them build up in life. These things, people don't really appreciate it enough, and that's what I want to get the attention of. And I hope y'all keep it in mind, think more about it, do some more research, and kind of understand the difference between socialism and communism, and what it truly means when there's a socialistic idea thrown out there. Yeah, so that's it for me. And yeah, thank you for listening. And Franz, I thank you for listening. And I guess we'll see you tomorrow, Franz, and you'll see me on Thursday. And yeah, that's it for me. See ya. Oh, my hand's not even on the screen. It's whatever.